Queen Veltara sat on her crystal throne, looking out at the stars through the massive windows of her palace. The throne room was huge, with walls made of pure crystal that caught the light from 3 different suns. She was 8 feet tall, with 4 powerful arms and natural armor that covered her purple skin like metal plates. Her yellow eyes glowed as she listened to the reports from her generals. For 300 years, the Zephyrian Empire had conquered world after world. No species had ever been able to stop them. The Zephyrians were born warriors. They were faster than most aliens, stronger than almost everyone, and their thick skin could stop most weapons. When they found a new species, conquest was always easy. General Thexvor stood before the queen, his own 4 arms holding data tablets. His armor was decorated with medals from 100 victories. "My queen," he said in his deep voice, "our scouts have found a new species on the edge of the galaxy." "Tell me about them," Queen Veltara said, not really interested. Another weak species meant another easy victory. "They call themselves humans," Thexvor continued. "They live on a world called Earth and have spread to a few nearby systems. Our initial scans show they are very weak." The queen leaned forward slightly. "How weak?" "They have no natural armor or weapons. Their skin is soft and tears easily. They are much smaller than us, with only 2 arms. Their bones break under pressure that would not even bruise a Zephyrian child." Thexvor showed her images on his tablet. "Look at them, my queen. They are like soft creatures from the ocean, but they somehow learned to walk on land." Queen Veltara looked at the pictures of humans. They did look pathetic. Small pink creatures with no claws, no fangs, no armor. She had seen stronger prey animals on hunting worlds. "How many ships should we send?" "A standard conquest fleet should be more than enough. 50 ships, maybe less." Thexvor paused. "There is one strange thing, though." "What?" "We intercepted some of their communications. They talk about someone a lot. Someone they seem to fear and respect at the same time." The queen waved one of her hands, not caring much. "A leader?" "Maybe. They mention a name often. Marcus Chen. When they say this name, their voices change. Some sound afraid, others sound hopeful. It is strange." "One person cannot matter against an empire," Queen Veltara said. She had heard this before. Every species had their heroes, their legends. None of them had mattered when the Zephyrian fleets arrived. "What else do we know about this Marcus Chen?" Thexvor checked his notes. "Very little. The humans keep most information about him classified. We only hear the name in their normal communications. Sometimes they say things like, 'Chen will know what to do,' or, 'If Chen was here, this would not have happened.' A military leader, then." "That is what we think. But the way they talk about him—" Thexvor searched for the right words. "It is like they think he can do impossible things." Queen Veltara laughed. The sound echoed through the crystal throne room like thunder. "Impossible? General, we have conquered species that could breathe poison gas and others that could survive in the vacuum of space. We have beaten creatures made of living metal and beings that could control electricity with their minds. What could one soft human do that we have not seen before?" "Nothing, my queen. You are right, of course." "Prepare the conquest fleet. 50 ships, as you suggested. And General?" "Yes, my queen." "When we capture this Marcus Chen, bring him to me alive. I want to see what makes these humans think he is special." Thexvor bowed. "It will be done, my queen." As the general left, Queen Veltara turned back to look at the stars. Somewhere out there was another species about to learn what it meant to face the Zephyrian Empire. She thought about the thousands of worlds under her control, the billions of alien slaves working to make her empire stronger. Soon, there would be more. The queen stood up and walked to the great window. Her reflection stared back at her. a perfect example of Zephyrian power. 4 strong arms, natural armor, height that let her look down on almost every other species in the galaxy. The humans, with their soft skin and weak bodies, would not even be a good fight. She thought about the name General Thexvor had mentioned, Marcus Chen. It meant nothing to her. Human names always sounded strange and weak, just like the creatures that carried them. In a few months, after the conquest was complete, she might remember to ask about him. Or she might not. It did not matter. What Queen Veltara did not know was that at that very moment, in a secret base hidden in an asteroid belt around a small star, a human was looking at detailed plans of Zephyrian ships. He had been studying them for 5 years, learning every weakness, every design flaw, every tactical mistake the proud Zephyrians made because they thought themselves unbeatable. Marcus Chen closed the file and rubbed his tired eyes. He was 53 years old, with gray hair and scars from a dozen battles. He looked like any other human, soft skin, no natural weapons, just 2 arms and 2 legs. But behind his quiet brown eyes was a mind that had spent 30 years learning how to turn weakness into strength. He knew the Zephyrians were coming. He had been preparing for this moment for half his life. Soon Queen Veltara would learn why humans spoke his name with both fear and hope. Soon she would understand what impossible really meant. The Zephyrian fleet dropped out of hyperspace where Kepler Station was supposed to be. Admiral Zexkul looked at his screens with confusion. According to their intelligence, this should be a massive mining operation with over 50,000 humans working to dig precious metals from nearby asteroids. Instead, there was nothing but empty space. "Run another scan," Admiral Zexkul ordered. His 4 arms worked the controls of his command ship, the Conquest of Worlds. Like all Zephyrian vessels, it was built for war. Thick armor, powerful weapons, and shields that could stop most attacks. "Still nothing, Admiral," reported his communications officer. "No station, no mining ships, no debris. It is as if Kepler Station never existed." Admiral Zexkul had conquered 15 star systems for the Empire. He had never seen anything like this. How did 50,000 humans and a space station the size of a small moon just disappear? "Check the asteroid field," he said. "Maybe they moved the operation." The fleet spread out to search. 30 ships, each one capable of destroying a city, carefully moved through the asteroid field where humans had been mining for 20 years. They found old equipment, abandoned mining tunnels, and empty supply depots, but no humans. "Admiral," called his weapons officer, "we found something." On the main screen appeared a small metal disc floating in space. It was human-made, with strange writing on it. "What does it say?" Admiral Zexkul asked. "Our translation computers say it reads M. Chen," the officer replied. "Nothing else." The admiral stared at the disc. General Thexvor had mentioned that name in the briefings. Marcus Chen, some human the others seemed to fear and respect. But why leave a name tag floating in space? "Bring it aboard for study," he ordered. "Continue the search." The fleet searched for 3 days. They found dozens of the small metal discs, all with the same name, but no humans. On the 4th day, something strange started happening. The supply ship provider disappeared during the night cycle. One moment it was there on the sensors, the next it was gone. No distress call, no explosion, no debris. Admiral Zexkul sent 2 destroyers to investigate, but they found nothing. "How does a ship just vanish?" he asked his staff. "Unknown, Admiral. All systems were normal, then contact was lost." The next night, a patrol ship went missing. Then 2 more supply vessels. Each time there were no warnings, no signs of attack. The ships were just gone. Admiral Zexkul was starting to feel worried. In 30 years of military service, he had never lost a ship to an invisible enemy. On the 7th day, they got their first clue. A damaged frigate was found drifting near a small asteroid. The crew was alive, but unconscious. When they woke up, they told a story that made Admiral Zexcool's blood run cold. "It was one human," the frigate captain whispered. "He came through our hull like it was paper, moved through our ship like he knew every corridor, every room. Our security systems could not track him. He was too fast, too smart." "One human did all this?" Admiral Zexcool could not believe it. Impossible. "He destroyed our engines, disabled our weapons, and knocked out the crew without killing anyone," the captain continued. "Then he left another one of those metal discs in our command center." Admiral Zexcool looked at the disc. Same human writing. M. Chen. "Show me the security footage." What he saw on the recordings made him understand why his ships were disappearing. The human moved through the Zephyrian vessel like a ghost. He was small compared to the Zephyrians, but he seemed to know exactly where to go and what to do. He avoided every patrol, disabled every security system, and destroyed critical systems with surgical precision. The human wore simple armor that looked like it was made from scraps. His face was covered by a mask, but his movements were those of someone who had been fighting for decades. When Zephyrian soldiers tried to stop him, he defeated them with techniques that turned their own strength against them. "How is this possible?" Admiral Zexcool asked. "How does one human know our ship design so well?" His intelligence officer looked nervous. "Admiral, I have been analyzing the attacks. This human is not just lucky. He knows our standard military procedures. He knows how we build our ships, how we train our soldiers, how we think." "What are you saying?" "I think this Marcus Chen has been studying us for a long time, maybe years. He knows us better than we know ourselves." Admiral Zexcool felt something he had never experienced before. Fear. Not fear of death. All Zephyrian warriors were brave. But fear of something unknown, something that did not follow the rules he understood. Over the next week, Marcus Chen continued his invisible war. He would appear on a ship, disable it, leave his calling card, and vanish before anyone could stop him. The Zephyrian fleet began to fall apart as crews became afraid to sleep, afraid to be alone, afraid of shadows. "We need to leave this system," his second-in-command suggested. "This human is destroying our fleet piece by piece." "We cannot retreat from one enemy," Admiral Zexcool said, but his voice was not confident. "This is not one enemy," his intelligence officer replied. "This is something we do not understand. Admiral, I recommend we report this to Queen Veltara immediately." Admiral Zexcool looked at his fleet status. In 2 weeks, he had lost 8 ships to one human. His remaining crews were nervous and afraid. The mighty Zephyrian war machine was being taken apart by someone they could not see, could not catch, and could not understand. He sent the message to Queen Veltara. "We have a problem. Send reinforcements. Send everything." In his report, he wrote about the missing station, the invisible attacks, and the metal discs with the strange human name. But he did not write about the fear that was growing in his heart, or the terrible feeling that they were fighting something beyond their experience. Far away, in a hidden base, Marcus Chen read the intercepted Zephyrian communications with satisfaction. The first lesson was complete. The Zephyrians had learned that their technology was not perfect, their ships were not safe, and their empire was not unbeatable. But this was only the beginning. Soon, they would learn what happened when someone studied them as carefully as they studied their prey. Soon, they would understand that being strong was not enough when your enemy was smarter. Queen Veltara stood in the command center of her flagship, Empire's Wrath. Around her, 500 of the most powerful warships ever built moved through space toward the human home system. She had come personally to end this embarrassment once and for all. "My queen," General Thexvor said, "we are approaching the Sol system. Sensors show significant defensive installations." The queen looked at the tactical display. The humans had been busy. Every planet had orbital weapons platforms. The asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter had been turned into a floating fortress with thousands of gun positions. Even the space around Earth's moon was filled with defensive satellites. "Impressive," she admitted, "but numbers mean nothing against superior technology." "The human fleet is moving to intercept us," reported the communications officer. 150 ships. Queen Veltara laughed. 150 against 500? These humans are either very brave or very stupid. Probably both, my queen. The human fleet approached in a formation that looked strange to Zephyrian eyes. Instead of the tight battle groups that most species used, the human ships spread out in loose clusters. Their vessels were smaller than Zephyrian warships, and their armor looked thinner. "Begin the attack," Queen Veltara ordered. The first wave of Zephyrian ships rushed forward, expecting to smash through the human line like a hammer hitting glass. Instead, something impossible happened. The human ships moved like they were connected by invisible strings. When the Zephyrians attacked one group, another group would appear behind them. When they tried to surround a human vessel, it would slip away while other ships covered its escape. The humans fought like they could read minds. "What is happening?" Queen Veltara demanded. "Why are they not breaking?" "Unknown, my queen. Their coordination is unusual." On the tactical display, the battle looked like a dance. Zephyrian ships would charge forward only to find themselves facing exactly the wrong enemy at exactly the wrong time. Human vessels that should have been destroyed managed to survive through impossible maneuvers. Attacks that should have worked failed because the humans seemed to know they were coming. "Their flagship," General Thexvor said, pointing to a large human vessel that moved through the battle like it was alive. "The humans call it the Determination. It appears to be coordinating their fleet." Queen Veltara watched the human dreadnought on her screens. It was smaller than her own ship. But it fought with a precision that made her uncomfortable. Every time it fired, a Zephyrian ship was damaged. Every time it moved, it was exactly where it needed to be. "Focus all fire on that vessel," she ordered. 20 Zephyrian ships turned their weapons toward the Determination. Enough firepower to destroy a city rained down on the human dreadnought. But when the energy beams and missiles cleared, the ship was gone. "Where did it go?" Queen Veltara shouted. "Behind the moon, my queen. It used Earth's satellite as cover." Before she could respond, the Determination appeared on the other side of the Zephyrian formation. It struck 3 supply ships with surgical precision, crippling their engines and leaving them drifting helplessly. "How did it get there so fast?" "Unknown, my queen. Their ship seems to be in multiple places at once." General Thexvor was monitoring communications when he heard something that made his blood freeze. A calm human voice was cutting through the chaos of battle, speaking in clear, measured tones. "Dragonflight, move to Section 7. Phoenix Group, cover their advance. All ships, execute pattern Chen 7. "My queen," Thexvor said quietly, "I am hearing human communications. Someone is directing their entire fleet." "Who?" The voice identifies itself as Marcus Chen. Queen Veltara felt a chill run down her spine. The name that her intelligence had mentioned months ago. The human her generals had dismissed as unimportant. Somehow he was here, in the middle of this battle, making her superior fleet look like amateurs. "Find his ship," she ordered. "Kill Marcus Chen, and this battle ends." But as her communications officers tried to trace the human transmissions, they discovered something disturbing. The voice was coming from the Determination, but also from the orbital platforms around Earth and from several other ships, and from locations they could not identify. "How many Marcus Chens are there?" Queen Veltara asked. "We believe just one, my queen. But his voice is being transmitted through their entire defensive network. As the battle continued, it became clear that something was terribly wrong. The Zephyrian fleet was not just losing, it was being taught a lesson. Every attack they made revealed a flaw in their tactics. Every formation they used was countered by a better one. Their superior numbers were becoming a weakness as their own ships got in each other's way. Marcus Chen's voice continued to flow through the human communications network, calm and confident. Zephyrian ships are designed for overwhelming attack, not extended battle. Their engines run hot. Their crews are trained for quick victories. Make them fight longer, and they will make mistakes. Queen Veltara watched in horror as her fleet began to do exactly what the human voice predicted. Ships collided because their captains were too aggressive. Weapons overheated because crews pushed them too hard. The perfect Zephyrian war machine was falling apart because someone understood it better than they did. "He has studied us," she whispered. "My queen?" "Marcus Chen has studied us. He knows how we think, how we fight, how we fail." She looked at the tactical display, seeing her 500 ships being systematically dismantled by a smaller force led by one human mind. "This is not a battle. This is an examination." The human voice spoke again. "Zephyrian formation Alpha 9 has 3 weak points. Exploit them now." 3 groups of human ships moved with perfect timing, striking exactly where Marcus Chen had said the Zephyrian formation was weakest. 12 Zephyrian warships were crippled in 30 seconds. "My queen," General Thexivore said urgently, "we must retreat. We have lost over half our fleet." Queen Veltara stared at the battle display. Her mighty armada, the pride of the Empire, was being destroyed by creatures she had thought were weak and stupid. But it was not their weapons that were beating her. It was their minds. "Retreat," she said quietly. "My queen! Retreat!" she screamed. The surviving Zephyrian ships fled toward hyperspace, pursued by human vessels that followed them just long enough to make sure they were really leaving. As her flagship jumped to safety, Queen Veltara listened to the final human transmission. "Let them go. They will carry the message home. The Zephyrian Empire has just learned that conquest requires more than strength." The voice belonged to Marcus Chen. For the first time in 300 years, the Zephyrian Empire had been decisively defeated, and Queen Veltara finally understood why humans spoke that name with such reverence. Queen Veltara sat in her private chambers on Nexus Prime, staring at the reports scattered across her desk. The crystal walls that once made her feel powerful now seemed like a prison. For 3 days, she had been reading everything her intelligence services could find about Marcus Chen, and each page made her more afraid. The human was not what she had expected. "Tell me again," she said to Intelligence Director Kexdal. "How long has he been studying us?" Kexdal, a thin Zephyrian with cybernetic implants covering half his skull, consulted his data tablets. "At least 15 years, my queen. Possibly longer." 15 years? How is that possible? We only discovered humans 6 months ago." "That is what makes this so disturbing," Kexdal replied. "Marcus Chen has been collecting information about the Zephyrian Empire since before we knew his species existed." Queen Veltara picked up another report. "It says here that he somehow obtained detailed plans of our ship designs." "How?" "We believe he has been capturing our vessels for years. Small ships that disappeared during routine patrols. We assumed they were destroyed by space pirates or natural disasters. We now think Marcus Chen was taking them." "Taking them for what?" "Study. Reverse engineering. Every Zephyrian technology, every weapon system, every defensive measure, he has learned how all of it works. Then he has figured out how to defeat it." The Queen felt sick. The pride of the Zephyrian Empire, their advanced technology, had been turned into textbooks for a human to study. "What about our military tactics?" Kexdal's expression grew darker. "Even worse, my queen. Chen appears to have interrogated captured Zephyrian officers. We have records of 17 military personnel who disappeared over the past decade during routine missions. We thought they were dead. They were prisoners? Yes, and they talked. Marcus Chen learned our training methods, our battle formations, our military philosophy. He knows how we think in combat. Queen Veltara stood up and walked to the window. Outside, the three suns of Nexus Prime were setting, casting long shadows across the Crystal City. So when we attacked Earth, we were fighting an enemy who knew us completely while we knew nothing about him. It was not a fair battle, my queen. It was an ambush disguised as a war. Show me his background, the queen said. What kind of creature is Marcus Chen? Kexdal activated a holographic display. A middle-aged human appeared in the air with gray hair and calm eyes. He looked ordinary, even weak by Zephyrian standards. Marcus Chen, born 53 years ago on Earth. Former member of something called Earth Special Forces, later became a military advisor to the Terran Defense Coalition. What makes him special? That is the question that frightens me, my queen. There is nothing physically special about him. No genetic enhancements, no cybernetic implants, no unusual abilities. He is just a normal human. Then how? Intelligence, my queen. Pure intelligence combined with something humans call determination. Marcus Chen does not accept that anything is impossible. When he sees a problem, he studies it until he finds a solution. Kexdal showed more images, captured Zephyrian ships being taken apart in human laboratories, detailed computer models of Zephyrian military formations, training facilities where humans practiced fighting in Zephyrian armor. He turned our strength into his classroom, the queen whispered. Yes, but it is worse than that. Kexdal changed the display to show star charts. My queen, we have discovered that human fleets are already moving beyond their home system. Not to attack, but to make contact with species under our control. What kind of contact? They are offering freedom, liberation from Zephyrian rule, and they are providing something we never could, which is hope. The species we have conquered are learning that the Zephyrian Empire can be defeated. Marcus Chen has shown them that strength alone does not guarantee victory. Queen Veltara looked at the star charts showing human ships moving throughout Zephyrian space. Green markers indicated worlds where human diplomats had already made contact. Red markers showed systems where revolts had begun. How many worlds have we lost? 47 systems have declared independence in the past month. 62 others are in open rebellion. Our client species? Most are switching sides. The Korthak Republic has signed a mutual defense treaty with Earth. The Velnai Collective is sharing their medical technology with human colonies. Even the warrior clans of Zexthara are asking for human military advisors. Queen Veltara felt the room spinning around her. The empire that had taken 3 centuries to build was falling apart in months. All because of one human? Not just because of him, my queen, because of what he represents. Marcus Chen has proven that the Zephyrian way of doing things, conquest through superior force, is not the only way. Perhaps not even the best way. What do you mean? Kexdal showed her recordings from liberated worlds. Humans working alongside former Zephyrian slaves to rebuild damaged cities. Human engineers teaching advanced technology to species the Zephyrians had kept ignorant. Human doctors treating aliens who had never received proper medical care under imperial rule. The humans do not conquer, my queen. They cooperate. They make allies, not slaves. And because of this, every species they encounter becomes stronger instead of weaker. Queen Veltara sat down heavily. She had always believed that the strong ruled and the weak served. It was the natural order of the universe, but Marcus Chen had shown that cooperation could be stronger than domination. that intelligence could beat raw power, and that one person's refusal to accept defeat could change the galaxy. "What does he want?" she asked. "That is the most disturbing part of all," Kexdal replied. "He does not want to destroy the Zephyrian Empire. He wants to save it." "Save it?" "Intelligence reports indicate that Marcus Chen believes the Zephyrian people have value, but he thinks our government and our philosophy of conquest are holding us back. He wants us to evolve." "Into what?" "Into equals. Into partners instead of conquerors. Into a species that builds up the galaxy instead of tearing it down." Queen Veltara stared at the hologram of Marcus Chen. This ordinary-looking human had done something impossible. He had not just defeated the Zephyrian Empire militarily. He had made their entire way of life obsolete. "Has he requested a meeting?" she asked. "Yes. My queen, he offers to discuss terms for a new relationship between our species." "Terms? We do not negotiate with inferior species." Kexdal was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "My queen, after what happened at Earth, can we still call them inferior?" Queen Veltara had no answer for that question. Outside her window, the suns of Nexus Prime finished setting, and darkness covered the Crystal City. Somewhere in that darkness, the Queen knew the age of Zephyrian dominance was ending, and somehow a single human had been the one to turn off the lights. Queen Veltara stood on the observation deck of Deep Space Station 7, looking out at a sight that would have been impossible just 1 year ago. Below them, the liberated world of Kethmara was rebuilding itself. Human engineers worked alongside Kethmaran architects to design new cities. Former Zephyrian slaves were learning to use advanced technology that their masters had kept from them for generations. The Queen had come here to meet with Marcus Chen, not as a conqueror meeting with prey, but as a leader trying to save what remained of her empire. The door behind her opened with a soft hiss. She turned, expecting to see another small, weak human. Instead, she saw someone who looked like a teacher or a grandfather. Marcus Chen was not physically impressive, just an aging human with gray hair and tired eyes. But when he looked at her, Queen Veltara felt like he could see everything she was thinking. "Your Majesty," he said in perfect Zephyrian. His voice was calm and respectful. "Thank you for coming. You speak our language." "I have had 15 years to learn it." Marcus Chen walked to stand beside her at the window. "I have learned many things about your people during that time, including how to destroy us, including how to save you." Queen Veltara turned to face him. This close, she could see that Marcus Chen carried himself like a soldier, despite his age. There were scars on his hands and a weight in his eyes that spoke of difficult decisions made in dark times. "Explain," she said. Marcus Chen gestured toward the world below them. "What do you see, Your Majesty?" "A former colony that you have stolen from us." "Look closer." Queen Veltara studied the surface of Kethmara. The cities were larger than they had been under Zephyrian rule. Orbital platforms that had been simple mining stations were now complex research facilities. The population seemed happier. "They are more productive now than when we ruled them," she admitted. "Yes, because they work for themselves instead of for masters who take everything they create." "You think our system is wrong?" Marcus Chen was quiet for a moment. "Your Majesty, may I ask you something? Why did your people become conquerors?" "Because we are strong. It is the natural order." "But strength used for what purpose? Your empire controls thousands of worlds, but what has that accomplished?" Queen Veltara frowned. No one had ever asked her that question before. "We have built the greatest civilization in galactic history." "Have you? Or have you built the largest prison?" Before she could answer, Marcus Chen activated a holographic display that showed the Zephyrian Empire as it had been 6 months ago. Thousands of worlds under imperial control, with Zephyrians as the ruling class and everyone else as slaves or servants. "Your people are magnificent," he continued, "strong, intelligent, capable of incredible achievements. But look what your empire has become." The display changed to show the current situation. Dozens of worlds in rebellion, former client species forming their own alliances, and Zephyrian space shrinking every day. You used your strength to control others instead of to build something better. And now everything you created is falling apart because it was held together by fear instead of by choice. Queen Veltara felt anger rising in her chest. "So you destroyed our empire to teach us a lesson?" "No, Your Majesty. I showed you that your empire was already destroying itself. Conquest without cooperation is not sustainable. Fear without respect is not lasting. Power without partnership creates enemies, not allies." Marcus Chen changed the display again, showing star charts with new trade routes, research agreements, and mutual defense treaties between species that had once been enemies. The galaxy is reorganizing itself, not around domination but around cooperation. Species are choosing to work together because they benefit more from partnership than from conflict. And where does that leave the Zephyrian people? That depends on what you choose to do next. Marcus Chen turned off the holographic display and looked directly at Queen Veltara. "Your Majesty, I am not your enemy. I never wanted to destroy your people. But I could not allow you to continue enslaving others. So what do you propose?" "Evolution. Your people have incredible potential, but you have been using it wrong. Instead of conquering others, you could be leading them. Instead of taking from the galaxy, you could be contributing to it. Speak plainly, human. Join the galactic community as partners, not rulers. Share your technology and knowledge freely. Help other species develop and grow strong. Build something better than an empire." Queen Veltara laughed, but the sound was bitter. "You want us to give up everything that makes us Zephyrian. No, Your Majesty. I want you to become everything the Zephyrian people could be." Marcus Chen gestured toward the window again. "Look at that world. The Kethmarans are not weaker now that they are free. They are stronger. And if your people helped them become stronger still, if you shared your knowledge and worked together, both species would benefit. You think other species would trust us after 3 centuries of conquest? Some will, in time. Others may need more convincing. But, Your Majesty, the alternative is not acceptable." "What alternative?" "Irrelevance. The galaxy is moving forward without you. New alliances are forming. New technologies are being developed. New civilizations are being born. The Zephyrian Empire can be part of that future, or it can be left behind by it." Queen Veltara was quiet for a long time, thinking about everything Marcus Chen had said. Below them, humans and aliens worked together to build something new. Above them, the stars held thousands of worlds where the same cooperation was taking place. "If we agreed to this," she said finally, "what would happen to our military? It would become a force for protection instead of conquest, defending the weak instead of enslaving them, working with allies instead of fighting enemies. And our leadership? Your people could lead by example. Show others how to be strong without being cruel. Teach others how to achieve greatness without taking it from someone else." Queen Veltara thought about her crystal palace on Nexus Prime, her throne room where she had received reports of victories and conquests for decades. It all seemed very small now compared to what Marcus Chen was offering. "Why?" she asked. "Why do you care what happens to us?" Marcus Chen smiled for the first time since their conversation began. "Because the galaxy is big enough for everyone to be great, Your Majesty. But only if we choose to make each other stronger instead of tearing each other down." Queen Veltara looked out at the stars one more time. Somewhere among them was her empire, shrinking a little more each day. But maybe if she was brave enough to listen to this strange human, there could be something better waiting to take its place. "I will need to discuss this with my people," she said. "Of course. But Your Majesty?" "Yes? Do not wait too long. The galaxy is not going to stop changing while you decide whether to be part of it." As Marcus Chen walked away, Queen Veltara remained at the window. For the first time in her life, she was not sure if being strong meant being in control. Maybe, she thought, being strong meant knowing when to let go. The age of conquest was ending. The age of cooperation was beginning. And somehow a single human had shown them the way forward.